We're back. We're back from season 3. The show that really started it all for us. If you're new to this channel, thank you for coming by. If you have been rocking with us, thank you for coming by as well. If you've been following our channel, you know that we started doing this off of the show From during season 1. And we've kind of gravitated toward other shows. We did, what was that show on Prime that we did briefly? Outer Range or something like that. Oh yeah,
the show you forced me to watch at gunpoint.
And that show, you know, it was okay, but we kind of fell off.
It was not okay. It was not okay. So the thing is, people in the comments ask why we don't do more shows and do more, and largely it's because, you know, we do have full-time jobs. Our kid is like a sports prodigy to me in my eyes. So I mean, his schedule keeps us busy, but mostly it's we can't agree on a show. We don't like the same shows. We just got lucky with, you know, the Game of Thrones and that world and From. And so far, these are the only 2 shows that we actually like watching together. So that's mostly why.
And that's a really good point, because like you said, we do try to watch shows, but the one show that is, well, the one show/shows that has really kind of kept it together for us is, of course, we love Game of Thrones and we love House of the Dragon. But nevertheless,
would you say these shows are holding this marriage together?
Oh my God, I wouldn't go that far, because I don't know. No. Oh my God. But you know, in all seriousness, excited about season 3 for a variety of different reasons, and mainly because we loved season 1 to death. Both of us.
Season 1 was it's like a sleeper hit. It was a really strong, well-written, well-acted, casted show, and the story was engaging. And I think one of the things that happened was that I don't think the network, which was Epix at the time, didn't realize what a gem they had on their hands. So with all of this interest, with all this, they follow me around.
She like just refuses. She just wants
I am their pack leader. So so they follow me around. But I don't think that network, it's such a small network, I don't think that they realized that they had such a good show on their hands. And I think by the time they got to season 2, I don't think that they kind of knew where else the show could go. Because if you think about the last scene in season 1, that was a very, very good ending show finale for that show. I mean, if you think about it. So, I mean, I'm hoping that watching season 3, we've looked at the stills, we've looked at the trailers, and we kind of think that we are back on track.
Yeah. And when she says we're back on track, as it relates to season 2, it seemed to us like a lot of people were divided as to whether or not they liked the direction that the show was going. We were one of the few channels that did also, in addition to saying we enjoyed the show, we often provided constructive criticism. And one of the things that we all kind of agreed on was that we think that season 3 is going to be much better, because in some ways I feel like with season 1, they didn't expect it to be so good.
Right.
Didn't expect so many people to latch on to the show. So it was almost like, okay, where do we go with this story now? And with season 3, with now we have somebody who's escaped Fromville, that creates a whole nother dynamic. Because like what we talked about with season 2, once the people had the talisman, or even season 1 for say, once you have the talisman, you were really safe. You didn't have to worry about the monsters because they couldn't come in your house and things like that. But then in season 2, they introduced a lot of different things.
I mean, we did have that. It's kind of like you said with the talisman. It kind of makes it to what's the inciting incident that's going to cause something to, you know, happen. And usually a show has more than one. We saw a really big one with Colony House. We said this when we first started watching the show. It's like, this Colony House situation is not a good idea. There's just too many people.
We called it before it even happened.
Too many personalities.
Too much sex going on.
So too many sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And and something was bound to happen. Somebody was bound to get lonely, and and that's exactly what happened. I mean, so after that, it's like, where else can we go? And I think that kind of the idea of things, it just seemed like the show kind of got stuck.
Mm.
Yeah.
But they freed themselves with now that what's her name escaped. Tabitha. Now that she's escaped, it gives us a whole nother dynamic to the show, because in our opinion, and we talked about this, we think that she's going to try to get in contact with either Victor's family, or some people who have maybe been in Fromville before and try to find out how to get back to Fromville to try to save their family. So they definitely gave us something, to look forward to, because now as a whole nother dynamic, and we're not just stuck in Fromville with the show. They can go back and forth and things like that and give us character development.
Yeah, I definitely with the character and plot development, I hope that we get some things answered. I don't want it to be like one of those shows, like show Evil, but I mean, it's a good show, it's a great show, but nothing ever gets explained or answered. But there's so many things that we need answers to. These are things that you cannot wait to do 4, 5, 6 seasons to answer these questions, right?
I agree 100%, and I'm glad that they did that. So we kind of talked about Tabitha being in the outside world. What is a character development or a character who you're excited to see their development in season 3 out of all like the main characters? We got Boyd, we got Kenny, we got Julie, we got Tabitha, Kenny, Jay, Jim, all these main characters, Ellis, Victor. Who are you excited?
I have 2. So my favorite characters are Jude and Kenny. I really look forward to seeing how Kenny changes with some of the things that are going to be happening this season with the lack of food, him being pushed into more of a leadership role, and his quiet masculinity becoming more pronounced and out there. I can't wait to see how that changes. And I can't wait to see Jude, and there's just something about the actor that he almost plays the clown, but you can tell that there's something there behind that, that is like kind of like seeping out. And you saw that in the episode where he's spending time or talking to Kenny's mother. And so I can't wait to see what happens with them. Also, Victor, and what happens when Victor doesn't have his peaches. And I mean, it's so crazy, because it's very rare that you get a show where you care about all of the characters except for Randle. And I mean, you care about all of the characters, and it's like, that's the good thing about great casting and great actors, is that you've hit the jackpot with your casting when somebody who's just watching the show cares about each and every one of the characters, no matter how minor or how large. But those are my main 2. But I mean, I'm excited to see what's going on with all of them.
Yeah, you took some of mine. I'm definitely interested to see what Kenny does, right? For sure, because they kind of made up at the end of season 2 where he was really frustrated why Boyd had brought over what's her name, Sarah. Yeah, and then especially when Sarah told him that, hey, I'm responsible for your parents' death, and it really created a rift in a relationship. But the relationship seemed to be repaired after Boyd killed the monster, and he had the worms in his arms. And then people started to say, you know what, Boyd seems to be trying to really figure this out, and he has to have every tool at his disposal to do that. And if Sarah's going to be one of those tools, then we got to accept her.
And that normally doesn't happen in the show. Usually there's somebody pushing back against that. You don't really get so quickly people willing to like get behind the leader and just give them every resource that they need. There's usually something or someone who's like kind of like, no, I'm not,
I agree 100%. I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen with Victor. and what he's going to be able to reveal. You know, him and Jim had that, not Jim, but him and Jade had those important conversations toward the end of the episode. And we also got a chance to see and learn a lot how his mother played the music. He kind of talked about like what his experience was like, you know, being there kind of by himself. So I'm definitely interested in his character development.
I really would love a bottle episode of Victor, just seeing him as a kid, and then throughout time how he dealt with being there by himself with these monsters, and and how he changed, how that experience changed him, and that trauma, how it affected him.
Yeah, I mean,
I really would like a bottle episode, and I would hopefully we get. I don't know how many episodes is it.
I think we're supposed to get 10.
See, okay, and here's one of my beefs with the show. This show is one of the shows where you can character-wise could extend the number of episodes, because I would like to know what people's previous lives were like before they got there, kind of like in Lost. I just want to know, like Donna and her sister, what made them, because they all came from different places. I want to know why. What were they doing? Where were they going? Were they where were they going? Were they intending on going somewhere else and traveling and them? And then what started Boyd's wife to kind of like lose touch with reality? I want to know. I mean, there's just so much.
And that's a good idea when you talk about, and maybe they will give us that, because I think that everybody's past or time before Farmville plays a part in why they end up there. And that is a really good point about like, what is these people's experiences? Because who is that? They gave us a little bit of Boyd's when they told us about the fishing loaves, and they talked about the boat and the key that he got and stuff like that. So we got a little bit of that from them. We got a little bit from Jim and his family discovering that they lost a child by accident.
Like gonna get a divorce.
And that was one of the catalysts that was kind of, you know, messing with their what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of ideas that we had that turned out to be actually accurate about the show. And then let's talk about some things that we also are predicting about people or things that might happen. So one of the things that we talked about that we felt that we kind of felt like would happen was definitely when we predicted Colony House would happen, right? When we said somebody would make the mistake and let somebody in there, right? So that was definitely one thing that we predicted early on, and it actually came to fruition. What was another thing that we predicted that came to be?
Well, they didn't. It's not showing. Didn't show in the second season, but they're going to be running out of food.
Yeah,
the weather is going to change. They're going to, with weather changes and shortages on food, that's going to become a problem.
And we also kind of predicted,
especially since there's more people.
Exactly. And we also kind of predicted early on that we always felt like somebody was watching them from the very beginning, remember? And we even felt that there was plants in there, you know, people who were placed there specifically to monitor them. We don't know why they wanted to monitor them. And early on, we thought it was the bartender. Remember? Because he was the guy that everybody went to, everybody told their business to. They got drunk around him, and it was like the bartender gets all of the secrets. And we were like, it's gotta be him. But then of course in season 2, he ends up getting killed. Right. And then our theory about that kind of seemed like we were right, because in was at the end of season 2 where the they talked to him on the radio like, Jim, your wife shouldn't be digging.
No, that was the end of season 1.
That was it. Okay, you're right. That was the end of season 1 where they were like, Jim, your wife shouldn't be digging, indicating that somebody
is watching
them, right? And one of the things that we kind of feel now is that the old lady might be the
one with cancer.
Yeah. She might now be the plant.
She's just too happy. She's just too joyful. She's just too jovial for me. I mean, it's like she's dancing around in the rain like she knows where the trap door is. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah. Having too much fun.
Too much.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is going on with our friend Randle?
Oh, you know what? Go ahead.
Because you really changed. I mean, did you dislike Randle?
When Randle first got there, I disliked him.
Right, and that changed.
Yeah.
So from that, why did it change? And then like, what do you think he has in store for this season?
That's a good question. Randle, when we first see him, everybody dislikes Randle because he's an asshole, right? Mm-hmm. His first interactions, he's punching people, pushing people on the bus. A lot of profanity. He didn't want to get rid of his gun. But then I may not have liked his tactics, but I like that he's one of the people that likes to ask questions. And that was one of the things that bothered us about the show, was like,
nobody asks
questions and nobody wants to share information that they know. And it's like, I like that he has an inquisitive mind. Jim has an inquisitive mind. And then also, his husband, Jim. And then what's the other one? Has the one that was a millionaire before he got there. Jade. They have inquisitive minds. They're like, what if somebody's watching us? What is this as an experiment? How do we all end up here, right? But I like him now because of his aggressiveness. Now, this is my prediction, though. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to play a big role somehow in this season. I think he's going to do some big things. Even in season 2, I thought when they kicked him out and put him in the bus, I thought he was going to, I thought that he was going to see something that we wouldn't get a chance to see, because for once, somebody was actually watching what they were doing at night. Because a lot of times when they put the townsend up, they put the curtains down and everybody like runs away from the windows. He was actually interacting with the monsters, on the bus. And I was hoping that he would see something. But I still think that he's going to play a big role somehow. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be a big role, right? What about our prediction about what's the one that got there when he threw up the African American the young man? What's his
Elgin?
Elgin, right? We talked about a long time ago, early on, and now a lot of people seem to be kind of somewhat adopting the theory. I think he has been in Fromland, and I think he's somehow related to Boy, his son, and Fatima. And I don't know how. I really don't know how. And I've sat down and I've thought about him, like, could he be Fatima and
because remember son? When they rolled up on the bus, he woke up and he was like, no. Like, what was that about?
Yep.
He knew something.
And I was like, he may not be born there, but what if somehow they escape Fromville and she's still pregnant with him or something? So he still has some type of attachment to Fromville because he was conceived there, but not necessarily born there. And I'm wondering, could that have something to do with it?
Remember, all of that other weird stuff started happening when he got there. Like the monsters starting to haunt their dreams and that whole Nightmare on Elm Street thing going on. I don't know what to call it. Is it the monsters, they're able to affect them in their dreams? Like,
yeah.
What is that? What do you think that's
it changed up a lot. I think that personally, I think a lot of that had to do with they had to introduce some new challenges for the people, because the monsters cannot be the only challenge, because the townsmen, now that they have the townsmen, the monsters are irrelevant. So now the only way you could really switch it up is to make it that they can get touched. Somehow something could happen to them, even though they have the talisman. And then plus, that's why we see the food shortage, because they need to create conflict. They need to create, different things going on for the show. And I'm glad that they are doing that. And I'm glad that, Tabitha got out, because now we don't have to just stay in Fromville the whole time, And
we can get some answers about this place.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm definitely, looking forward to that element.
And it's so crazy because it's like, all you got to do is go to the lighthouse and get pushed out.
Yeah.
And it's like so easy to get out, but who knows? What if where Tabitha is actually another version of maybe they're stuck in the, I don't know. I think that's a thing. I don't think it would be that easy to leave. I mean, that's too easy, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like I said, we still don't know what this place is. You know, there have been so many crazy theories. People saying that they're on an alien spaceship. You know, people saying, you know, all kind of things, really. And we don't know why they are there. Are they in hell? Are they, you know, a part of a
is it
experiment?
a fear experiment?
Is it a fear experiment? We don't know. So I'm really, 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 really hoping that in season 3 we start to get something. You know,
where did the they're in hell thing come from?
No, some people said that they were like stuck in like between hell and like
purgatory,
the purgatory or whatever. And you know, because they're essentially being tortured, kind of. Mm-hmm. You got these monsters that are there. Everybody seems to be like kind of have good in them and bad in them. You get what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. So they're kind of like in this interesting like place. So, like I said, I'm hoping that we get some things. And, you know, to me, season 2 was divisive. I think that everybody who watched season 1 was on board that this show is the shiznick, right? Mm-hmm. But season 2, that's when you started to see people 50% over here loving it, 30% over here like, I don't know. 20% on the fence.
Have anything to do with season 2?
I can't remember.
I can't remember my timeline, but yeah, it was very divisive. Mm-hmm. Very divisive, especially for the people who've been watching it since the beginning and talking about this show from the beginning. Like, okay, well, it was just a big letdown, almost like
some people, because they wanted more answers.
But you know what? But there was some understanding because, like I said before, they probably didn't know that this show would be a hit as much as it is, right? So if you have your season finale the way it ended, and it seems like it's been wrapped up in a bow. Well, not wrapped up in a bow, but it's a season finale where you could basically have like, oh, I wonder what would happen, but at the same time, you know what would happen. So, I mean,
yeah,
I think, yeah.
No, I'm with you 1,000%. And that's why I think that this season is going to be good. I feel like it's going to be just as good as season 1 or right up under it, because a lot of people, when you said, hey, I don't like the direction of where the show was going in season 2, a lot of people would say, hey man, shut up. You don't know how to appreciate a slow burn. And
no, we do.
Yeah,
we know how to appreciate a slow burn.
Yes, and we enjoy a slow burn because that's what season 1 was, right? Mm-hmm. But there was something that was off a little bit about season 2. Did we still enjoy the show? Yes. But there was something that was, you know, you just couldn't quite put your finger on it. But I feel like because people, you know, there was a mixed feeling about it. I think that we're going to see a difference in the way that season 3 is operated. You know, I'm excited, super excited. Yeah, I mean, that's almost really all I gotta say.
Me too.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and support the channel. Mm-hmm. You know, we enjoy doing these videos with you. If you watch House of the Dragon, check out some of our videos. We had a great time. You know, we would have guests on. We had
a rip-roaring good time.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to say, if you have any shows that you kind of want us to kind of watch and think that we both would like, please put it in the comments. There are a couple. I really want to get into Fargo. And I'm very much in the whole Interview with the Vampire fandom, but Patrick doesn't want to watch that. He doesn't like vampires.
No, I watched a couple. Look, I watched a couple of episodes with you, but yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if there are any shows that you think.
And then also movies.
Like.
We watch a lot of movies because we have that membership. And we're going to start doing more movie reviews. And we're going to do it in a creative way. So be looking for that, because we're going to do something where one of the things that I love about the way we do our content, and even other people channels that I love to watch, I like to watch things that are not so scripted. You know, I like scripted things at times, of course, but I like that non-scripted things sometimes, and just people kind of conversing. And that's what we did with House of the Dragon. We would have guests on. There'd be times to be 4 or 5, 6 of us in there talking about the show. So we plan on doing some of that. We tried to get Derek on. If you watch From with us before and rock with us on the channel, you know who Derek is. I tried to get him to call in. He's talking about, dog, I'm still grilling. I'm like, man, you could have hopped on here for 10 minutes. So we talk about you, Derek. But yeah, man, thanks for rocking with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Make any recommendations that you want us, any shows or anything you want us to check out. Our watch has ended.
Our watch has ended.